Have you ever looked at a leader you really admire and wondered, what's their secret? What separates the good ones from the truly legendary mentors? Well, what if I told you the ultimate career development plan wasn't cooked up in some modern business school, but comes from an ancient spiritual text? Today, we're cracking open the Bodhisattva's path and reframing it as a step-by-step playbook for becoming a world-class leader in your own field. Right. This is the big question, isn't it? We all start out somewhere, passionate, full of ideas, ready to go. But how do you actually turn that initial spark into real, lasting impact? How do you go from being just another person with a mission to someone who actually changes the game? This ancient playbook argues that it's not about luck or natural talent. Nope. It's a structured, intentional process. So let's dive in and see how it works. All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through this whole journey piece by piece. First, we'll look at why this is such a powerful framework for growth. Then we'll get into the real nuts and bolts, building your foundational discipline system. After that, we'll explore some advanced practices for leveling up, master the art of communication, and finally, see what it really means to reach that pinnacle and become a true mentor. Okay, first things first. Everything, and I mean absolutely everything, starts right here. Before you can even think about leading a team or inspiring others, you've got to build an unshakable system for yourself. Think of it like the foundation of a skyscraper. Without it, anything you try to build on top is just going to come crashing down. So the bedrock of this foundation is a concept called non-negligence. Now, in today's terms, you can just think of this as radical focus. It's the skill of not letting your mind get totally hijacked by all the noise. The anxieties, the distractions, the office drama, the endless social media scroll. It's about consciously and constantly pulling your attention back to what actually matters, your core mission. So, how do you actually build this system? Well, the playbook gives us 4 super practical steps. Step 1, guard your core principles. Figure out your non-negotiables, your ethics, and protect them fiercely. Step 2, constantly reconnect with your why. Remind yourself of your mission every single day. Third, and this one is huge, practice radical honesty. No games, no hypocrisy, especially with yourself. And finally, number 4, conduct regular self-reviews. Just take a few minutes to observe your own mind, see where it's at without judging it. This becomes your personal operating system. Okay, so once that foundation is rock solid, it's time to start building. This is the growth stage. This is where you actively cultivate the behaviors that are going to take you from being just a competent person to a truly influential leader. Let's look at what those behaviors are. And what's amazing here is how these ancient ideas are basically a checklist for killer modern leadership. First, integrity. Your words and actions have to match up. It's that simple. Next, be a relentless learner. The best leaders know they don't know everything. Then, act without attachment, meaning fall in love with the process, not the results or the praise. And this next one is so crucial. Build both competence and character. It's not enough to be the smartest person in the room. You have to be the most trustworthy too. And finally, surround yourself with mentors and positive influences. Your growth is a team sport, for sure. This brings us to a skill that every single master mentor has perfected, the ability to communicate with real precision and empathy. It's not about crafting one perfect, shiny speech. It's about having the right message for the right person at exactly the right time. And this is it's brilliant. The playbook basically gives us a cheat sheet for effective communication. Check this out. If you're mentoring someone who's arrogant, you don't lecture them. Instead, you talk about equality and teamwork. For someone who's feeling lazy, you don't shame them, you inspire them by talking about purpose and diligence. If you're dealing with someone who's resentful, you gently guide the conversation toward compassion. And for someone who's just kind of unaware or ignorant, you don't just give them the answers, you teach them how to observe and analyze things for themselves. The key takeaway, great communication isn't about what you want to say, it's about what the other person is actually ready to hear. So, you've built that solid foundation. You've been putting those advanced practices into play. You've honed your communication skills. What's the end game? Well, you reach the pinnacle of this path. You become what the text calls a world teacher, or what we might just call a true master mentor. The ultimate goal here is to fully embody a whole set of leadership competencies. The playbook calls them the 10 perfections, or paramitas. And this isn't just some random list of nice qualities. It's a complete integrated system. It covers everything, from generosity and ethics all the way to patience, energy, deep focus, and profound wisdom. It's about becoming a leader whose excellence isn't something they put on for show, it's just who they are. And the sign of a true master? It's this. Their very presence becomes a form of teaching. They can say one thing, and every single person listening hears exactly what they needed to hear on their own terms. Their message is so finely tuned that it lands perfectly for everyone, almost like it's custom made. It's totally effortless, resonant impact. So let's bring all this home. Let's distill this whole playbook down into a simple guide you can use starting today. First, always come back to your why. Reconnect with your mission. Second, commit to being a lifelong learner. Always be curious. Third, make it about serving others, not just about yourself. Fourth, detach from the outcomes. Success, failure, it's all just data for your next move. And finally, let your vision grow with you. Don't get stuck on old goals. And that brings us to the end of this explainer, but really, it's the beginning of the real work. This whole path starts with one single step that's rooted in total clarity. So the final question is for you. What is your core mission? What is the why that gets you out of bed in the morning? And knowing that, what is the very next action that your discipline system is telling you to take?